There are pivot points in a human life, moments that cleave time into a before and an after. Most people wait for these moments to be delivered by fate. A chance meeting, a lucky break, a sudden tragedy. They wait for an external event to grant them permission to change. This is a profound error in strategy. True transformation is not an event you wait for. It is a system you build, and the architecture of that system rests upon a foundation of what psychologists call keystone habits. A keystone habit is a single, specific daily routine that creates a cascade of positive change, rippling through every other area of your life. It is the first domino that, once tipped, guarantees the rest will fall. Forget motivation, forget willpower, forget the myth of the quantum leap. Today, we explore the 5 evidence-based keystone habits that, if practiced with unwavering consistency, do not just suggest success, they make it a mathematical and psychological inevitability. This is not a list of tips. This is a 1-year protocol for building a new identity from the ground up, backed by science, psychology, and the immutable laws of human nature. First, you must reclaim your mind from the cult of productivity. Modern work is a frantic performance of being busy, a storm of notifications, emails, and context switching that creates the illusion of progress while producing nothing of value. The first keystone habit is the antidote: 1 hour of absolute single-tasking focus on your most important work. No phone, no email, no distractions, just you and the task. This practice is a direct application of what psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called flow state, a state of deep immersion where the self disappears, time distorts, and performance skyrockets. As he stated, the best moments in our lives are not the passive, receptive, relaxing times. The best moments usually occur if a person's body or mind is stretched to its limits in a voluntary effort to accomplish something difficult and worthwhile. The myth of multitasking is a neurological fallacy. Research from Stanford University confirms that heavy multitaskers are actually worse at every cognitive task measured. They are worse at filtering irrelevant information, worse at managing their working memory, and worse at switching tasks. Every time you switch, you pay a cognitive tax. The 1-hour rule eliminates this tax. Consider the writer. One writer spends 8 hours a day working, checking social media for inspiration, answering emails, and toggling between 10 different documents. At the end of the day, he has produced nothing. The second writer isolates himself for 1 hour. In that hour, he writes 2 perfect pages. After 1 year, the busy writer has a folder of fragmented ideas. The focused writer has a finished manuscript. He didn't have more time, he had better time. This habit builds the identity of a creator, not a reactor. It is the foundational act of valuing your own output over the input of others. Your mind does not exist separately from your body. It is an embodied system, and its cognitive function is inextricably linked to your physical state. To operate at an elite mental level, you must first operate at a baseline physical level. The second keystone habit is non-negotiable: a minimum of 30 minutes of deliberate movement every single day. A brisk walk, a run, lifting weights, yoga. The modality is less important than the consistency. Exercise is the most potent antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication known to man, with 0 negative side effects. It systematically reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that cripples executive function and promotes fear-based thinking. Psychologically, it is a daily act of self-respect, proving to yourself that your well-being is a priority. The key is a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. Dr. John Rady of Harvard Medical School calls BDNF miracle grow for the brain. Exercise triggers its release, which helps repair existing brain cells and grow new ones, fundamentally improving memory, focus, and the ability to learn. You are literally building a better brain. As the father of medicine, Hippocrates, said over 2,000 years ago, the wise man should consider that health is the greatest of human blessings. An entrepreneur is crippled by anxiety. He overthinks every decision, fears every risk, and his business stagnates. He introduces one non-negotiable habit, a 30-minute run every morning. Within months, the cortisol levels drop, the BDNF rises, his thinking becomes clearer, his decisions more decisive, his courage more robust. He didn't solve his business problems. He built a brain that was capable of solving them. Your external world is a mirror of your internal state. A chaotic environment creates a chaotic mind. You cannot think clearly in a space that is cluttered with unresolved decisions and visual noise. The third keystone habit is a simple act of order. Spend 15 minutes at the end of each day returning your immediate environment to a state of neutrality. Clear your desk, wash the dishes, put things away. This is the broken windows theory applied to your personal life. The theory states that visible signs of disorder and neglect create an environment that encourages further disorder and neglect. By resetting your environment daily, you signal to your own mind that you are in control, that details matter, and that you respect your space. As Marie Kondo notes, the objective of cleaning is not just to clean, but to feel happiness living within that environment. A study from the Princeton University Neuroscience Institute put this to the test. They found that a cluttered, disorganized environment creates a state of continuous, low-grade distraction that competes for your brain's limited attentional resources. This constant competition drains your mental energy, reduces your ability to focus, and increases stress. A clean space is not about aesthetics, it is about cognitive bandwidth. A student is failing, his room is a mess, his notes are disorganized, and he constantly misses deadlines. He feels overwhelmed. He starts with one rule. Before bed, he spends 15 minutes tidying his desk and packing his bag for the next day. This small island of order begins to spread. He starts organizing his notes. He starts planning his weeks. The external order creates the mental space required for internal order to emerge. Life is lived forward but understood backward. Without reflection, you are doomed to repeat the same patterns, react to the same triggers, and wander without direction. You become a ship without a rudder, pushed by the currents of circumstance. The fourth keystone habit is the installation of that rudder. A 5-minute written review at the beginning or end of each day. This is not journaling about your feelings. It is a strategic audit. This practice directly engages the principle of what gets measured gets managed. By tracking your actions, you become consciously aware of the gap between who you want to be and who you are actually being. Furthermore, by noting what you are grateful for, you actively combat hedonic adaptation, the brain's tendency to take positive outcomes for granted. As Socrates famously declared, an unexamined life is not worth living. Writing down your goals and reviewing your progress activates the brain's reticular activating system, RAS. The RAS is the filter that determines what you pay attention to. When you consistently review your goals, you are programming this filter to relentlessly scan your environment for the people, opportunities, and information relevant to achieving them. You literally start to see the path that was invisible to you before. A professional feels stuck and unfulfilled in her career. She feels busy but not productive, adrift but not free. She begins a 5-minute daily review, answering 3 questions. What did I accomplish? What did I learn? What am I grateful for? Within weeks, she notices a pattern. The things she accomplishes and learns are all related to a side project she had dismissed as a hobby. The data from her own life, now examined, gives her the clarity and courage to pursue that project as a new career. The quality of your thinking is determined by the quality of your mental models. Most people have a very small toolkit of models, which they try to apply to every problem. They are a carpenter who only owns a hammer, so to them, every problem looks like a nail. The fifth keystone habit is the most effective way to build that toolkit. Read a physical analog book for 20 minutes every day. Not a screen, not social media, a book. This habit builds what investor Charlie Munger calls a lattice work of mental models. By reading broadly across history, science, and philosophy, you acquire hundreds of different ways to look at a raw problem. This multidisciplinary approach is the hallmark of every great thinker. As Munger states, "In my whole life, I have known no wise people who didn't read all the time. None. Zero." The physical act of reading a book is neurologically distinct from reading on a screen. An MRI study from Emory University found that reading a novel enhances connectivity in the brain's left temporal cortex, the area associated with language and receptivity. Crucially, this heightened connectivity persisted for several days after the reading was finished, demonstrating a lasting neurological upgrade. You are not just consuming information, you are rewiring your brain for higher level thought. A CEO faces a complex market problem that his team cannot solve. They are all using the same business frameworks. The CEO, through his daily reading habit, has been studying military strategy and biology. He applies a model from biology, the concept of an ecological niche, to his market problem. The novel perspective allows him to see a solution that was invisible to everyone else. His success came not from working harder, but from thinking better. His thinking improved because he read. These are the 5 keystones: undistracted creation, daily movement, environment reset, daily review, analog reading. Individually, they appear simple, almost trivial, but like a keystone in an arch, their power is not in their individual weight, but in their position. They lock the other pieces of your life into place. Practice these 5 habits with monastic consistency for 1 year. The results will not be linear. They will be exponential. You will not be a better version of yourself. You will be a different person entirely. The system, once built, runs itself. This is the protocol. The work is not glamorous. It is not a quantum leap. It is the quiet, daily, disciplined act of laying one perfect brick upon another. And that is how an empire is built.